Don't you ever feel like you're less than fucking perfect. A Marvel fanfiction written on AO3 by Justanotherpanickinggay. Peter lay face down on the floor of the communal living room. It was surprisingly comfortable, although he guessed that shouldn't be surprised, considering Tony Stark had bought it. He had been laying on it a lot lately. There was something comforting about it. There's gotta be better place to spend your Friday evening. Bucky laughed, walking into the living room. Rude, Peter replied, barely moving. I'm just saying. Don't you have, friends to go out with? Bucky asked. You're meant to be a teenager. Bold to assume he has friends, MJ responded. She sat on the couch scrolling on her phone. Hey, loser, get off the floor. No, Peter replied, continuing to lay face down. What's wrong with him? Tony asked, joining the conversation as he went over to make his 5th cup of coffee that day. We're not sure, Bucky explained. Peter rolled over, looking over at the group that had begun to form in the living space. Leave me alone to my despair, he grumbled. Yeah, no, we're not doing that today, buddy, Tony replied, going to sit down on the floor next to his son. Peter just rolled over again, in lieu of a reply, and rolled back over so his face was against the stone-cold floor. He's being a wimp, MJ answered for him. He likes someone, and he doesn't know what to do. Ah, young Mr. Parker has taken a lover. Sam's voice teased the group as he joined. Peter groaned louder. I'm not sure that's helping, Sam, Bucky pointed out. Tell us more, Parker. I want a name, and if we're going to be dating someone, I need to know as much as possible, in case she's a security risk, Tony requested. Peter sighed loudly, and MJ rolled her eyes. What? I'm just saying, I need to know. You're Spider-Man, and you're still a kid. I need to make sure she isn't going to reveal your identity, or put you in danger. You've never had a girlfriend before. This is a big moment. You don't get to bring girls home and never talk about this stuff, for that matter, he replied. MJ snickered slightly, and Peter just sighed. Right, sorry, you know what I mean. Girls. Other girls. You know, like that. Not, you don't like MJ. She's your friend. You know what I mean. Girls you're dating, he continued, panicking slightly as he stumbled over his words. Peter sighed slightly louder this time. Tony, I think you should stop giving him the third degree about who he's into. I don't think it's going to be a threat to national security, whoever they are. Bucky pointed out, using extra emphasis on the words they, having seen Peter's reactions. Tony didn't seem to notice. Well, either way, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell her? Peter groaned again. Tony wasn't getting it. They're going to see some nerdy movie tonight, and Peter's going to tell them how he feels, MJ explained. Wow, you found a girl as nerdy as you? I'm impressed. It's difficult, Tony teased. Peter sat up. Okay, he was just going to have to rip off this Band-Aid. He's not a girl, Peter said simply. Tony looked confused for a second before it finally started to click. I'm gay, Peter confirmed. Well, bi. I like guys. Everyone was silent for a moment. Oh my god, it's Ned, isn't it? Clint said, dropping down from the vent and landing not so gracefully on top of Sam. I swear to God, Clint, this is the first time this week. I will not again ask you politely. Sam shouted and began to chase Clint out of the room. Peter looked anywhere but Tony, who had gotten suspiciously quiet. You need to know that if it is Ned, that's okay. In fact, it's probably good, so he won't expose you or betray you or drop a building on you, Tony pointed out. Peter panicked at that and started to say something but was cut off. Yes, I know about that. Tony looked at him seriously. Peter finally met Tony's eyes. It felt almost impossible for him to say what he needed to do. I'm seeing Star Wars with Ned, he managed. Okay, that's cool. Tony shrugged. And I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you couldn't tell me that before. I love you, and it doesn't matter who you are. You're an amazing person, and don't let anyone ever tell you any different. He pulled Peter in for a hug. They stayed like that for a while. At some point, Peter started crying, and Tony just held him tighter. When, eventually, Peter pulled back, Tony reached out and wiped the tears from his face. As for boyfriend advice, I'm not sure I'm the best person to talk to. But Bucky here is a chef of pining for his childhood friend his entire life and never telling them the truth. So I'm going to pass you over to him. That's homophobia, Tony, Bucky jokingly said from across the room. He had stuck his head into the fridge and was now rummaging around. Have you talked to Steve yet? Tony asked. Bucky just sighed and rolled his eyes. I thought not, Tony said, with a smug smile.